Robert Thies says, I give my first sermon this Sunday. Any tips or pointers for those going through seminary / preparing for their first sermons? Yeah, I'll give you a few just off the top of my head. Man, you're going to be nervous, and that's okay. Focus on the value the message will bring to the people. Do not focus on your performance, on how well you'll do and how well they'll evaluate you. Do not focus on their evaluation of you. Focus on the value that these beautiful truths will bring into the people's lives that you're sharing. If your focus is on that, then your nervousness will disappear as you're delving into the sermon. You're sharing these things that you feel are so wonderful and helpful, and it will help you through that nervousness. Other things would be never quote a Bible verse out of context. You will find this very tempting, especially at first, because there are a bunch of verses you've probably heard used out of context and you didn't know it. And as you're preparing your sermon, you're like, oh, there's a great verse for this. Every verse you bring in that's a great verse for this, go back and check the context before you quote it in your sermon and make sure you're using it properly. Many of them will fall away. You will find other verses, but you will be training yourself and your people to think biblically about things and not just to hijack verses to say what we want. I'm telling you, this happened to me so many times, especially earlier years of teaching, because you have to just constantly be, I can't use that verse for that. That verse doesn't mean that. I didn't realize that. Well, I finally looked it up, and this is going to happen to you. Do that over and over and over again. Prepare more than you teach. Another piece of advice. So you may prepare this much, but you end up cutting things out. I don't, I do these super long videos online. I'm not would never even try to do a 3-hour sermon on a Sunday morning. Okay, I'm not even going to attempt that. Unless the people were somehow wired for it and were happy to have that. What I would do for a sermon in person, not like an online thing, which is a totally different platform, I would think, here's how much time I have. I'm not going to just prepare 50 minutes of material, 40 minutes of material, whatever it is. I'm going to over prepare, and then I'm going to go through my notes and take out and condense anything that I can, so that what they're left with is the best of the things that I have to share. Not everything I have to share, but the best of what I have to share. You might be surprised how much I even do this with my ridiculously long videos. So there's some advice for you. Your first sermon, here's an encouragement I had. Okay, so I stepped into the pulpit to teach for my pastor back in the day. And it was the first time I was asked to teach, and I was very nervous. And as I was preparing my Bible study, and maybe teachers will understand this, I felt this, and it wasn't his fault, this was all me, okay, but I felt this compulsion, like I should prepare a sermon like the ones he gives. And as I was preparing my notes, I was thinking, he would probably like it if I said it this way. and yet I was thinking, but I think it's probably more like, I think I should say it this way instead. And I felt like I was, like, there's three things. I want the people to like what I'm going to say. I want the pastor to like what I'm going to say. And I want God to like what I'm going to say. And what I had to do is I had to eliminate the other two out of my considerations. I don't want to please the people. I want to bless the people. There's a huge difference. I don't want to please my pastor so that he'll ask me again, or so that he'll think that I'm called, or so any of those things. This is actually selfish ambition disguised and man-pleasing disguised as some sort of godly thing. So I went into teach thinking, I'm just going to teach this the best I can. End of story. And if the leadership doesn't like it, and if people don't like it and don't want me to do it, that's fine. Because then I will know that I didn't offer some diluted version of scripture, some diluted version of teaching, or of me trying to express these gifts that I think God's given me. I didn't offer a diluted version that I get stuck in, where I keep giving people things I think they expect so that they can give me the approval that I want. And then you're stuck in it because you end up wiring everyone around you to embrace and accept and expect that same sort of delusion. Instead, I thought this really helped me. Hey, if I teach and they think it's terrible and they never ask me to do it again, I'm totally fine with that. Because I don't want to pretend I have gifts I don't have. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. This actually liberated me a lot. I was like, we'll see what happens. There's my advice to you. I hope you find it